Joining us live tonight here on the Hill, Curtis Sliwa, Republican mayoral candidate there. Joining us live from Staten Island, it says, top right of the screen. Thanks for being here with us tonight here on the Hill. Curtis, your case, obviously you know this. Our audience knows this. There's calls for you to step aside. What's your case tonight for why you're in and what you're seeing?
Well, first off, that ongoing argument that I should drop out is gone. It's done. I voted on the first day of early voting. 250,000 people have voted as of today, more in the next few days, and then, of course, November 4th. So I don't know how many times I have to say it. I'm the only Republican candidate. I'm the law and order candidate. Andrew Cuomo, the architect of no cash bail that's caused the crime crisis. Zohran Mamdani, his apprentice, raised the age, closed the prison. They're both in agreement. They're like two peas in a pod. I give people an alternative choice in this election. So why would I want to drop out? And by the way, if anybody should drop out, it's Andrew Cuomo, who got beat decisively in that Democratic primary, having been ahead at one point by 40% to 1% on March 1st of 2025, and yet he lost by 13% on June 24th. So if anybody doesn't deserve an opportunity to run, it's Andrew Cuomo, who has been off the campaign trail for 10 days since Labor Day. You don't win elections by just hanging out in the suites with your billionaire friends.
So on the way forward, and I hear you, Curtis, that you say that that you voted and you're in it, and you've said this time and again. Here's what I'm looking at in part. Republican movement last go around, Donald Trump 2024, right? Obviously, you're a Republican in New York, you're on the ballot, but we both recognize that there's no Republican, especially in New York City, even more popular than Donald Trump. And he was able to move the needle to the right, right? There was movement in Manhattan, the Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island, et cetera. But still, even with all that, for the first time since 1988, he had the best showing, and he only hit 30% there in Manhattan. Here's what he said the other day when asked about you, and then I want to get your reaction on the other side.
Sure. He's not going to win, and not looking too good for Cuomo either. But maybe, I don't know, if he dropped out, maybe Cuomo would have a little bit of a chance, but not much. It's really a question of, would I rather have a Democrat or a communist? And I would rather have a Democrat than a communist.
If that man right there can only get 30% in New York City, what's the path forward?
Well, look, that's the president's point of view, but he has changed his mind from week to week. I have a mission. I have a get-out-the-vote effort. I'm going to win this election by November 4th. I am the designated Republican candidate. There was a time that challenged me months ago. Nobody stepped forward. So the election is on. And by the way, since when do we allow billionaires, influencers, and insiders choose who's going to win in elections? I thought when I was growing up, one person, one vote. The people were going to choose the mayor. Why are we afraid of the people choosing? I'm not. I say put it in the hands of the people. All three candidates should go out there, do their best to get their vote to the ballot box, and on November 4th, we will know who the next mayor is. I'm doing that. I don't see Andrew Cuomo doing that.
There's this surge of early voting. Why do you think it is? Is it, you know, Mamdani and the enthusiasm that he's bringing? You seeing something else? What do you think it is?
Well, look, with Zohran Mamdani, he's dealing with a generational change. A lot of millennials and Gen Zers who are excited because they hear everything's going to be free, free, free. It's fantasy, not reality. And I'm trying to ground everybody in common sense. You see, Zohran knows he's going to bump chests with Donald Trump, and he's not going to win. You can't bump chests with the president, no matter who they are, and win. We expect a lot of federal dollars to subsidize our social service programs. So if you go to war against Donald Trump, the people of New York City lose. I've taken an alternative position. You sit down with the president or whoever he assigns to the task, and you try to negotiate so it lessens the hurt to New Yorkers who are in desperate need. We've already had Medicaid cut. We've had food stamps cut. They're going to cut the funding to the public housing sector. If you go to war with him, you'll blame Trump for all the cutbacks, when in reality, if you took a different position, you might help a lot of people in New York City. That's what the mayor should do.
So you bring up the threats there from Donald Trump. Here's what he has said on that.
The funding for New York and for every place comes through the White House. And I'm very generous. And I was always very generous with New York, even when you had opposition there, but I was always very generous. But I wouldn't be generous to a communist, a guy that's going to take the money and throw it out the window.
So if you believe the poll, I'm just saying if here, Curtis, if the polls are right, if the betting markets are right, Mamdani wins, and if Donald Trump, who's the president of the United States, says, you know what, we're going to cut funding, however he may or may not do it in New York, what would you say to the president? Should he go down that path or no?
No. He's already said if Zohran Mamdani is the winner, he'll immediately extract another $7 billion in funding to New York City that we desperately need. Don't hurt the city because you don't like the mayor. But it is incumbent upon Zohran Mamdani, if he should win, he's got to take a different track with Donald Trump. But Andrew Cuomo, he also wants to bump chests with Donald Trump. Both these guys want to be tough. We don't need a tough mayor in New York City. We need somebody who's compassionate, concerned, and considerate, and that's why I'm going to win on November 4th. Nobody's tougher than me, but that's not the time to get tough with the most powerful man in the world, the President of the United States, Donald Trump.
Curtis Sliwa with us tonight here on the Hill. Appreciate the time, sir. Thank you.
Oh, anytime.
All right.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.